talking about renal pyramids, although a topic which is slightly uncommon away from the thing, but for pediatric cases, I think it will be an important thing that many times, you come across children where you find that the pyramids are looking bright. Many times, most of the times I've seen people, they get confused, is it nephrocalcinosis or is it normal or is it something abnormal? What should I write? Whether it is physiological, can it be a physiological phenomena? So all those queries, I think this will answer. But one thing first I would like to tell you that when you are looking for pyramids in the pediatric patient, in a child or in a neonate, you need to have the linear probe or higher frequency probe, because that would give you a better picture of the pyramidal area. What I am showing you, many of the pictures have been taken by the linear probe. Now this is just to get you acquainted with the anatomy. We have the renal pyramids like this. Renal pyramids are mainly in the medullary region. They are mainly constituting the medullary region. Outer portion is the renal cortex, and then we have the renal papillae. And if you can just observe, you can see these calyces. They have their extensions on either side of the pyramid. So many times we may not be noticing it, but when you will do it with a higher frequency probe, you will notice that you will see these areas are extending, the calyces are extending on either side of the pyramids. We all know the tip of the pyramid is papillae, and between the pyramids we have the extensions of parenchyma, which are called renal columns. Now with that base, another thing, this is just the basic anatomy again, that mainly the Bowman's capsule and tubules, except loop of Henle, they are all in the cortex. Loop of Henle may go slightly into the pyramids, and the collecting ducts are both seen in cortex and in the pyramids. So they are in the cortex as well as medullary region. Now, a young or an infant kidney or a neonatal kidney is different from adult. When you look at an adult kidney, what are the differences you are finding here? If you see, you cannot differentiate clearly where the cortex is and where the sinus region is. They look same. Overall kidney brightness is high. That is the first thing. Second thing you will notice, look at the pyramids. Normally in an adult kidney, we don't see such clear pyramids. They are not so obviously seen. So this is the two differences that you will find in a neonatal kidney or a young infant's kidney, that it may not, many times they say that is why some diseases like MRD cases, we cannot diagnose very clearly in infants or neonates, because their renal echogenicity is as it is very high. Now this echogenicity may remain for, many times it may be having fetal ovulations, we all know they might be present, it may remain for 4 to 6 months, and then it may come to the normal adult appearance. So sometimes it can sustain till 4 to 6 months. Another point that is important here, I told you that cortex is not seen very clearly. It is thinner because pyramids are prominent, so medulla is occupying some region. And then this is very important. When you are looking at a neonatal kidney, you should not assume that you see prominent pyramids, so you think this is hydronephrosis. Remember, pyramids will have a very regular appearance. They will be in a systematic manner. Hydronephrosis will never be like this. Hydronephrosis is more branching. These are just different ages. I think rather than hydronephrosis, you can more confuse it with multiple cysts in the kidney. But again, the same thing I repeat, these will be linearly arranged in a pattern, while cysts will be haphazard. So should not confuse between these two. Now, when we use normal probe, we are not able to see this appearance. But if you use a high frequency probe, can you see these lines here? Striations. You may be able to observe striations in the cortex. And these are probably because we all know kidney is a very vascular organ. And these smaller vessels, when we are seeing with a convex probe, they are not very clearly seen. But when we see with a linear probe, we can see the lines very clearly parallel, and we can make out these are the vessels. You want to put color, you can put color and confirm. Similar lines may be seen in the medullary region also. This picture is not showing very clearly, but you might find similar linear areas close to the pyramids. They may suggest collecting ducts, because just now we read that part of collecting duct goes to the pyramids. That is why sometimes you may find calculi even in the medullary region. Normally the calculi are more confined to sinus region, but in such case you may find it in the medullary region also. Now just look at this. This is what I was trying to tell you. What can this be? This is basically, it is dipping into the calyx. And the calyx right now is collapsed because there is no hydronephrosis. So you can see it as a white collapsed area on either side of the pyramidal tip. Just showing you again, these are called fornices. So we see the pyramid here, and on either side of the pyramid, this picture and this picture. Both look different. This picture is looking like this because the pyramids are, the calyces are having some fluid, some urine is there. So the picture is like this. They are slightly dilated. While here, they are collapsed, and you may see them as echogenic area only. Now, what can be the cause of bright pyramids in the neonate or an infant when you see, and you suddenly see that there is a picture like nephrocalcinosis, we all are very familiar with. So we think these are bright pyramids, this is nephrocalcinosis. But then you have to remember the first point. I always insist on that part that you should know the physiological variation. And this is absolutely a physiological variation. There may be a transient increase in echogenicity for some time. Then the increase in echogenicity may be because of obstruction, that is hydronephrosis. Then there may be metabolic conditions like increased uric acid, hyperuricemia, glycogen storage disease, nephrocalcinosis. Infections can be another cause. Polycystic kidney disease may look like echogenic pyramids, and polycystic kidney disease which presents in infants, it has a very different picture from adult polycystic, because in infants the cysts are very small. So the overall picture is like bright kidney, infantile polycystic kidney, autosomal recessive. Then sickle cell disease, and sometimes it may be idiopathic. Let us just see the pictures. Now you can see here, there is increased echogenicity. Can you identify? The tip only, this part is normal. These are all pictures with a high frequency probe. That is why you can see it so well. And you can see the tips look bright. So whenever there is a transient increase in echogenicity, mainly the tips may be involved. And you may see bright looking areas. What will happen to them? They will disappear most of the time in few days, maximum maybe 10 days. That means they may be without any pathology. They may just be physiological. And usually after, the reason they believe is that the glomerular filtration rate till 10 days of time of the infant post-natal period, the baby may not be having a good GFR. So it is not able to filtrate the things clearly, and they sustain in the pyramids. As a result, the pyramids start looking bright. What else? Can it be pathological? That is what it says, that this is important. Many times you will come across infants or children who are dehydrated. That's one common pathology in India, I think. So there also you may find that there may be increased echogenicity of pyramids, and when the cause is treated, this disappears. So you have to keep this part also in mind, that there may be, due to oliguria, due to renal failure, or due to dehydration, you may again find that the pyramids look bright. And once the treatment is done, they will come back to their origin. This is what again, multiple pyramids will be involved, obviously, because the whole kidney will be affected by the oliguria, and there will be increased echogenicity in the bladder with some same material. Something you can compare with sludge in the gallbladder. When the concentration of bile increases, it becomes sludge. So sludge looks bright. Same thing here. Urine gets concentrated because it is not getting filtered out. As a result, the pyramids start looking bright. Now when you look at hydronephrosis, how can it cause brightness in the pyramids? See here. This is not the pyramid, this is the calyx. I told you that pyramids are always resting over the calyx like this. So when the calyx dilates, what will happen? It will compress the pyramid. And when the pyramid gets compressed, some area which is closer to the calyx will get more compressed. So it will appear. So you have a big area and then you compress it, it will look brighter. So it looks bright, linear area. Remaining calyx, remaining pyramid, what will you see? The shape is changed. Normal shape of the pyramid is we could make out it's almost a triangular structure, but now it is looking like a crescent. Why? Because it has been pressed by the dilated calyx. The other picture that you may see, in this case what has been done, there was obstruction, hydronephrosis was there, partly obstruction is relieved, so the pyramid obtains its part shape, not full still. The other picture is showing you the other effect that you will see on the pyramids of the hydronephrosis is, now when hydronephrosis occurs, the fluid will not remain confined in the calyceal region main only, it will also go into the collecting ducts. So collecting ducts also become prominent. And you may find that the pyramid is prominent, and along with that I can see tubular areas which represent the collecting ducts, which we are normally not able to see because they are too small. And this pyramid is the normal pyramid. So what can hydronephrosis do on pyramids? It can make the pyramid have increased ecogenicity, a rim of brightness. It can alter the shape of the pyramid, or it may dilate the pyramid and may lead to collecting duct prominence. You will see linear striations within the pyramid. This is, I think already I have shown you, it becomes crescent shaped, and when it is removed, it can come to some normal appearance. Now coming to nephrocalcinosis. Now when we talk about nephrocalcinosis, nephrocalcinosis is a picture which may have many causes. It may be because of hyperuricemia, it may be because of gout, any kind of metabolic disease can lead to nephrocalcinosis. And the word nephrocalcinosis itself indicates and brings to your mind bright pyramids. The pyramids will look bright. Now, various patterns for nephrocalcinosis have been described. It is not necessary that when you see nephrocalcinosis, it will always look like a homogeneous bright pyramid. Not necessary. You may find different pictures. Let us see what can be the different pictures. You may find that the ecogenicity is only increased at the periphery. The center is bright. You may find that ecogenicity is increased more at the periphery, less in the center. Then you may find that it is throughout ecogenic, but outer rim is opposite to this, outer rim is dark. Or complete ecogenic pyramid is there, or sometimes only the tip may have, ecogenic tip may be there, and slight extension going on the either side. This is sometimes also called Anderson-Carr kidney, and sometimes we use the word for this progression of ecogenicity as Anderson-Carr progression also. See, what do we find in these pyramids? This portion is bright, but here portion is pale. So you have central dark and peripheral bright areas. If you observe, you can observe the fetal lobulations also. Lobulations always in fetus, whenever you will see fetal lobulations, they always conform to the pyramids. They will be in the same area as pyramids. Now another pattern, what do we find? Center is bright, periphery is dark. All these constitute different patterns of nephrocalcinosis. Sometimes you may come across such a picture. Bright pyramid with a cystic area in the center. This is with a normal probe, and this is with a high frequency probe with a picture zoom, so you can see a cystic area. Now this is what we call Anderson-Carr kidney, where you just see that the tip is bright. And on either, many times people confuse these things with calculi. Now you may think that this is a bright area and this is a calculus, but what are the pictures that is different from calculi? There is not much shadow. If such a big calculi is there, you should get a shadow. And second thing is that it is very linear. Then this is another pattern that you may come across in nephrocalcinosis. You see a dark periphery, then you see a central area, then you see a white area, and then you see a central area, striated appearance. So this is there that in nephrocalcinosis, usually we have this concept that nephrocalcinosis mainly affects the medulla. That is why we use the term medullary nephrocalcinosis. But occasionally it can go into the calyces, and then it may form calculi also. So you may find a case where nephrocalcinosis is associated with nephrolithiasis. Both are there. What else can look like bright area? Again, we see there is a bright ball here in the area next to the pyramid. You see a very bright ball. Now, does this look like an ecogenic pyramid, or does it look different? It's a small area, more rounded, more confined to one. It is not involving all the pyramids, multiple. This may be a fungal ball, candidal infection in the kidney. It may give you multiple white areas, and in fact, they can be more confused with something what we call angiomyolipomas. They are also bright, but angiomyolipomas usually occur in the cortical region. So you have to keep this in mind. Predisposing factors, we all know candidiasis is not uncommon in infants. Now, infantile polycystic kidney. I think by fetus only we are able to recognize it antenatally. There is still a dilatation of collecting ducts, and which will lead to echogenic pyramids. I think overall echogenicity also is increased in infantile polycystic kidney. So you may find that there is increased echogenicity whenever a cystic area is very small. Instead of appearing dark, it appears bright because you don't see the lumen. And once they dilate more, then you can see them as clear cysts. Plus, sometimes you may find, after birth, you may find that this is just showing you that there are echogenic, the whole kidney. I think you have seen this picture, must have seen in infants or in fetus also. When you have an infantile polycystic kidney case, both the kidneys are enlarged and bright. The same picture is almost here. Only the cortex may look somewhat dark, and you cannot make out where the pyramids are and where is the remaining parenchyma. The columns of Bertini are not seen very well. This is just showing you an enlarged picture of the same, and now you can make out that there are bright echogenic spots which were not so clearly visible in the normal scan that you were doing with the routine probe. Here again the dilatation is more prominent of the collecting duct, so you see bigger areas. This is what it says, that if you see that the cystic areas look more tubular, then you can be more sure of infantile polycystic rather than thinking of other cystic disease. Because this will be, in other cystic disease, the cysts will be round. Here there will be tubular appearances because actually those cysts are dilated, collecting ducts. This is obviously an associated finding, periportal hepatic fibrosis. Now, different appearances for the infantile polycystic kidney. So your concept should change that. Infantile polycystic does not always look as bright kidneys. Whenever the dilatation is more, you may see some obvious cystic areas on the background of white kidney. So multiple appearances, some of them look as bright echogenic dots. Cysts are more obvious here. Here the cysts are less obvious, more brightness is seen. Here bigger cysts are seen. So different appearances are possible in infantile polycystic kidney also. Same picture again. This may look like adult polycystic. Then there is a condition called Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome. The spelling has gone a little wrong. W-I-E-D, Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome. There is macroglossia, there is macrosomia, there is anterior abdominal wall defect and renal problems. Now obviously you will come across this case more antenatally nowadays rather than postnatally. But supposing you come across such a patient, then you may find some renal problems, and again the picture may be there. There may be ductal dilatation leading to echogenic pyramids, and it may lead to finally cyst formation also. Again, there can be nephrocalcinosis in these cases, which may again lead to echogenic pyramids. This is what is being shown. Echogenic pyramids, bright foci, and there is a larger cystic area. May look very similar. Just now we saw infantile polycystic kidney. One of the pictures were very similar to this. But then you have the associated findings. I've told you, macrosomia, macroglossia. Urate crystal deposition. Patient there is a syndrome in children where there is blood uric acid levels are high, or in gout. Even in adults also, this may be one of the causes of nephrocalcinosis, hyperuricemia, gout, SLE. So many conditions are there which cause echogenic pyramids even in adults. And then drug allopurinol is another thing which can lead to echogenic pyramids. Same picture, bright pyramids throughout. Obviously on ultrasound we cannot say this is due to hyperuricemia. Only thing we can say is that the pyramids are bright. Glycogen storage disease, again another cause. There may be enlargement of the kidney leading to, and then there is increased echogenicity of cortex and medulla. the other things may be associated. If you say nephrocalcinosis, uretristal deposition, nephrolithiasis, amyloidosis, we know all of these cause bright kidney. All are possible when you see a bright kidney. Amyloid deposition is another thing. When we talk about MRD, the amyloidosis is one of the causes of medical renal disease. This is how glycogen storage disease patient you can make out. There is a bright pyramidal area and the cortex is also very thick. Kidneys are enlarged. Thick cortex, big cortex. Then we come to the last thing, sickle cell disease infants may also show you bright pyramids again. And there also you may find only medullary involvement. Rarely pyramids may also be involved. And again the picture is bright pyramids. Partly involved, lower half, the apical half is involved, right? Here the whole pyramid is involved, here only the periphery. And the cause here, it is believed, in sickle cell it is believed the cause is probably congestion rather than deposition of calcium or something. So I think now when you come across a case of nephrocalcinosis like picture in an infant or a child, you should keep all these entities also in mind. That nephrocalcinosis is just a symptom, is just a picture. You have many causes for it. And second important thing that you should remember, that when you're looking at a case of nephrocalcinosis, it is not necessary that the whole pyramid should be white. You may have different appearances. Like I showed you, it may be just periphery, it may be just center. You may have calculi also associated with it. Sometimes people get confused, they say that nephrocalcinosis, usually you say there is no acoustic shadowing, but we are seeing acoustic shadowing. That may be because of the associated nephrolithiasis. So I conclude here with this part, and I hope next time the patient comes to you with such a picture, you will be able to tell the correct diagnosis. I think next lecture is by Dr. Randhawa.